back into coaching, and so thus he is back with them this year. He has overall won 3 state championships. He was the coach of Lafayette Jeff, ranked number 2066. So the Anderson-Madison Heights Ball Club under Coach Bill Buck moves on. Now we're ready for play here in the second game of the Fort Wayne Semi-State. First game won by Southman LaSalle by a score of 75-66 over Fort Wayne Harding. This one between Marion and Plymouth.
Just like last year, Blackman plays at guard, but he jumps center to start the ball games for Marion. And here he is set to go up against Ron Sissel. The opening tip controlled by Blackman, and he slaps it right out of bounds. It will be Plymouth ball out. So Blackman slammed that one a little bit too hard, trying to get it to a teammate. And the Pilgrims will start on offense.
And Mark Bilger went flying into the crowd, as you saw a moment ago, one of the starting guards for the Marion Giants.
Plymouth with the basketball on offense. That's Sissel out high to take it down on the left side to Samuelson.
Skiles lost his footing a moment ago, turned his ankle, but he appears to be all right. He just buckled for a moment.
That's Wendell. He's averaging 18 points a game for Coach Edison. I think Wendell and Samuelson look a lot alike, Jerry. Both have about the same color hair. Here's Wendell shooting it from short range. Spins out, back in by Sissel. No, it won't go. Rebound comes out, and Wendell has it. Blackman tipped that rebound out and tipped it right to Wendell. Inside, it goes to Peterson. He brings it back out. Can't find anyone. Now gets it over to Wendell.
This is a matchup zone you're seeing by Marion.
That's Peterson. Now into Sissel. Back over it goes to Samuelson. Plymouth being very patient here in the early going. As we said, Plymouth likes to run with the ball.
But they adjust.
But they also will be patient and run their offense and work for the good shot. There we have Skiles. Nice feed inside, and Peterson gets the layup. Beautiful feed by Scott Skiles. Well, you hear about his 29 points per game, but you don't hear about all those nice assists, and there was one there. First point of the afternoon for Peterson, and Plymouth jumps out to a 2-0 lead. That's Joseph Price. Shot put up by Ganeri, and Ganeri has the first points of the day for Marion. Ganeri averages just 5 points a game. Looking at the statistics, Jerry, it looks really to us, at least on the season from the statistics, looks like that Marion is basically Joseph Price and James Blackman. Other than that, they don't appear from statistics to have much of a bench, and the other players on the floor have not done a lot of scoring this year for them.
Well, those two ball players you mentioned, Blackman and Price, average combined 44 points a ball game. So you're right from a scoring standpoint. And Coach Bill Green has said he would like to get more output from the other 3 members of the starting 5.
Sissel loses the handle on the ball, but, well, no, it's not saved. It's now stolen away by Drake. And now an offensive foul on Drake. He threw a shoulder right into the stomach of Todd Samuelson and knocked him down. The official was standing right there to make the call.
First foul of the ball game, and it comes with 6:04 left to play in the first quarter.
Samuelson gets it into Skiles. Long shot won't go. Rebound battled for. It's headed out of bounds, and it'll go out of bounds to Marion. Sissel let the ball go out. He thought it had been touched last by the Giants. Either that or he just knew he had no chance to control it and thought maybe he could fake the official out. Whatever, it belongs to Marion. That's Joseph Price way outside. Plymouth playing a very tight defense. Pass inside is mishandled by Drake, but saved there by Bilger. Here's Blackman. Back to Bilger. Plymouth putting a lot of pressure on the ball. Long shot by Bilger won't go. Not a good shot. Peterson pass ahead to Skiles. Skiles chases it down in the corner. Baseline. Dumps it off underneath. Intended for Sissel. It's tipped away out of bounds there by the Giants, rather. Marion Giants. I'll try not to call them the Marion Knights. The Marion we're most familiar with, of course, Mishawaka Marion. They're nicknamed the Knights. But these are the Giants of Marion, Indiana. Inbound pass to Skiles, and he is hacked there by Ron Drake. Foul number 2 on Drake, team second. Let's see if they'll call it a shooting violation. Yes, they will. Skiles tried to make a pass off after he got the foul called on Drake.
Skiles, a 77% free throw shooter, 29-point average. His 13th point today will set a new single-season scoring record for Plymouth, held by Bruce Grimm.
Free throw by Skiles is off. That's something you won't see happen many more times today, as Scott Skiles missed a free throw. 77% free throw accuracy this season. Misses 2 in a row. Maybe Skiles a little tight here in the early going.
I think so.
Score tied at 2 with 5:18 left to play here in the first quarter. Low-scoring contest here in the early minutes. Both teams feeling each other out. Joseph Price spinning jumper is off. Rebound to Scott Skiles. Long pass down to Wendell. Wendell fakes once, goes up with it. Blocked by Price, I believe. Price got a hand on it. Wendell gets it back, puts it up. Won't go. A foul called on Bilger. I think Joseph Price got a hand on that shot by Wendell to knock the ball away, and Wendell got his own rebound and drew the foul. So he'll be at the line to shoot a pair. Phil Wendell, a 78% free throw shooter. Plymouth as a team has a 10 percentage point edge on Marion at the line. Marion hitting 63.7% of their free throws this year. Plymouth 73.7%. Phil Wendell's free throw is good. His third point.
That foul, by the way, was charged to Mark Bilger, a 6'2" senior guard for Marion, his first and Marion's third of the ball game.
Let me make a correction. That's Wendell's first point. He has Plymouth back in front 3-2. Make it 4-2 as he gets both free throws. 5 minutes left to play here in the first quarter. Bilger bringing it down, turns the ball over, got the dribble out of control against that Plymouth press and turns it over. That's the second turnover against the Giants. Plymouth guilty of 1. 4 minutes, 56 seconds left to play here in the first quarter. Plymouth leading at 4-2. They are the visitors, designated visitors in this ball game. So as you see the scoreboard, the Plymouth score will be the one marked visitor, or guest, actually, on the scoreboard. Skiles in the corner, steps around the defender, moving in, lays it up and in. Scott Skiles gets the basket. Marion bench wanted a charging foul on Skiles. That's his first point of the day, and Plymouth leads it 6-2. There's Drake. That's Blackman with it now. Shot from outside, won't go. Rebound, a lot of pushing inside. Plymouth comes up with a rebound. There's Peterson ahead to Wendell. Wendell puts it up, blocked there. Nice block by Ganeri, headed out of bounds, and it does go out of bounds. Trying to save it in over there was Bilger, but he couldn't catch up with it in time. So Plymouth will get the ball out. Jerry, right now, Plymouth holding their own with the Giants on rebounding.
More than that, Lynn, it's 7-2 in team rebounds in favor of Plymouth.
Coach Bill Green, as we were talking in our pregame show, thought his team had an edge in the rebounding, but Plymouth doing very well. On the year, they've been out rebounding their opponents by about 10 rebounds per ball game, and which is kind of an amazing statistic when you consider the tallest starter is 6'2". 3 minutes and 54 seconds left to play here in the first quarter. Plymouth leading it 6-2. Samuelson from outside misses. Rebound tipped out, and it's saved there by Sissel. That's Peterson. Back to Sissel. Here's Skiles. Long jumper by Skiles. Won't go. Rebound off to Blackman. Marion trying to run with it, but Plymouth hustling back on defense. Shot from the corner by Bilger. An air ball. Peterson has it. Ahead to Skiles. Behind the back to Wendell. Back over to Skiles. It's by him out of bounds.
Well, I think either ball club could do themselves a favor by taking a timeout. This is a rather ragged beginning for both clubs. Plymouth 2 out of 9, Marion 1 out of 5.
Maybe they're waiting for our TV timeout. We should have one coming up here shortly. 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. The ball headed out of bounds. And it goes out of bounds to Plymouth. 6-2 the score, and now Marion takes the timeout. A break in the action. Plymouth 6, Marion 2. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
If you're looking for bigger corn yields, take a good look at Lasso herbicide. In 6 years of university tests, Lasso out-yielded Dual by an average of 4.9 bushels per acre. Both herbicides were used straight or mixed with...
Hold it! I've got important news from Monsanto. Lasso and atrazine now come in a convenient new package mix. Either way you choose, tank mix or package mix, Lasso and atrazine gets the job done right.
Hook's pharmacists in Green have been dispensing quality generic drugs when prescribed for over 80 years. Generic drugs can offer savings, especially for many individuals on long-term therapy. Talk to your physician, and should it be determined that a generic drug would be right for you, your Hook's pharmacist will fill that generic prescription exactly as your doctor ordered. Just another reason to turn to Hook's for all your prescription needs.
Back in Fort Wayne, Plymouth holding a 6-2 lead after almost 5 minutes of play. As Jerry said, both teams really needed that timeout. Neither team playing with much poise or control here in the early going. This is Skiles. That's Sissel. To Wendell. That's Wendell bringing it up to the top of the key. As Bill Green told you, and as Jerry mentioned a few moments ago, matchup zone employed by the Marion Giants. Plymouth has started in a man-to-man. Skiles' turnaround jumper won't stick. Rebound is off to Marion. So Skiles getting off to a slow start here. Actually, both teams getting off to a slow start, having trouble perhaps with some tournament jitters. Joseph Price in the lane. Spinning jumper, short. Rebound off to Peterson. Pass ahead to Skiles. Skiles takes it down, lays it up off the glass. Won't go. Rebound comes outside, and Bilger beats Skiles to it. Bilger over to Price. Price shot from outside, or Blackman shot from outside, won't go. Rebound to Peterson. Long pass ahead to Wendell, stolen by Blackman. Nice defensive play by Blackman. Here we go the other way. There's Price, jumper inside the key, won't go. Rebound, Ganeri, and he is fouled. Ganeri draws the personal foul on Barry Peterson, and on Peterson, that's his first, team's first. Jerry, I don't know if they can maintain this kind of a pace for 32 minutes. Well, they're really moving.
I hope they don't, because the fans are going to be disappointed in performances. And now Plymouth is 2 out of 11. Marion just 1 out of 8 from the field. But again, it's a different level. It's a little bit more pressure when you get to the semi-state, obviously.
Ganeri misses at the line. He's not a good free throw shooter, 53%.
You only have to go back to the first game when the Lions of LaSalle got off to a terrible start, behind 9-0 in the first 3 minutes.
Second free throw is good for Ganeri. And it's 6-3. LaSalle or Plymouth leading Marion by 3. 3 points this afternoon for Ganeri. He's accounted for all of Marion's scoring. This is Wendell working with the ball. You can hear the Marion coaches to our immediate right shouting instructions to their players saying, watch for Skiles working on the baseline. There's Sissel. That's Wendell now. Scott Skiles working away from the ball. Now he has it out to Samuelson. Back to Wendell. Back out to Samuelson. Skiles in the corner, steps up on the baseline, shoots it up, won't go. Scott Skiles can't buy a basket, and the rebound is out of bounds. Last touch by Wendell.
Well, unofficially, I think I have him for about 1 out of 5, which is, of course, very uncharacteristic of that performer.
Most of his shots thus far have been in very good range. He did take one very long shot from about halfway between midcourt and the top of the key, but the rest of them have been low inside. Offensive foul on Joseph Price. They call him for pushing off against Scott Skiles. Foul number 1 on Price, team's 4th. Jerry, we have a little bit of a battle, I guess you could say, between Mr. Basketball candidates. Joseph Price of Marion has been touted by his school authorities for Mr. Basketball. And certainly, Scott Skiles has to be in the thick of the consideration for the Mr. Basketball honor. Joseph Price, as we have told you, is headed to Notre Dame next year. Plays for Coach Digger Phelps. Samuelson gets it to Skiles. Jumper from the free throw line. Won't go. He draws iron, and Skiles commits the foul, trying to follow his shot. Coming over the back of Drake. Foul number 1 on Scott Skiles, team's 2nd. I think Scott's a little frustrated, Jerry.
And it is not unusual to see Coach Jack Edison put Skiles on the bench for a while. He has done that on several occasions to kind of let him cool off a little bit, even though he's such a great point producer.
Pass down into Ganeri. Ganeri is the only man who's had success for Marion, and he does here with his 5th point. Ganeri has accounted for all of Marion's scoring, and Jerry, he's already reached his season per game average of 5 points. He's done it here in the first half, or first quarter. 30 seconds left in the quarter. Plymouth leading it by 1, 6-5. That's Samuelson with the ball outside. We're down approaching the 20-second mark. Wendell, long shot. No go. Rebound off to Ganeri. Ahead to Bilger. To Price. Shot from the baseline. Won't drop. Tip back up and in by Blackman. Blackman got the follow-up. Joseph Price put up a very poor fadeaway jumper that time. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Shot by Skiles is off the front of the rim. And the first quarter ends with Marion leading Plymouth.
5 straight points by the Marion Giants have given them a 7-6 lead, believe it or not. A low score for the first quarter. Both ball clubs shooting very badly from the field. Marion 27% on 3 out of 11. Plymouth 13%.
And off the opening tip of the second half, Joseph Price gets the layup. A design play there for Price. His first basket of the day, a 9-6 lead for Marion. A 3-point advantage. Jerry, that score disappointingly low when you consider the pace of that first quarter. There was a lot of running in that quarter and not much scoring. Here's Sissel hitting from outside. His first basket, 9-8 to score.
Well, that brings a string of 9 straight misses by Plymouth.
Nice play by Drake. Bilger trying to get the ball to him in the corner. The ball was headed out of bounds. Drake spun around, fired it back in, bounced it off Peterson, and then it went out of bounds. So Marion retains possession on a good heads-up play by Ron Drake, a 6'1 senior. That's Joseph Price with the ball. Price, Blackman, Gennari, Drake, and Bilger. The same 5 that started the ball game, still in there here at the start of the second quarter. Neither team has made a substitution yet. Ball goes out of bounds after that shot, last touched by Plymouth, so it will be Marion ball out. Pilgrims with Wendell, Samuelson, Skiles, Sissel, and Peterson, the same 5 players that played the entire first quarter. Shot put up, won't go. Rebound off out of bounds, last touched by Skiles. Gennari missed. Skiles had the rebound, but lost it out of bounds.
Well, that rebound going to Marion is their 12th, and so they've moved ahead of Plymouth on rebounds, 12-11.
Maybe a little bit of a surprise, Jerry, that neither team has made a substitution when you consider how poorly they both played in that first quarter. Sometimes the coaches will go to their bench, bring somebody in, see if they can shake things up and get something going. This is Bilger to Gennari. Back to Bilger, out to Blackman. That's Bilger. Pass inside to Price. Price cut off there, gets it out to Blackman. Shot from outside, won't go. Rebound off to Peterson. Ahead to Skiles. Skiles into the lane, underneath to Wendell. Wendell puts it up, won't go, but he was fouled. The shot foul there against number 22, Mark Bilger. And on Bilger, that will be foul number 2, team's 5th. So Plymouth will start going to the line for the 1-and-1 from here on out, with 6 minutes and 41 seconds left to play here in the first half. Right now, Marion holding a 1-point lead, 9-8. Bill Wendell at the line. He's 2 for 2 from the line today. That's accounted for all of his scoring, making 3 for 3. Nice soft touch. 78% free throw shooter this season. 9-9 the score.
That's the second time it's been tied.
10-9 now. Plymouth back in front by a point with those free throws from Wendell. He has 4 points, all from the line. 4 out of 4. There's Bilger down low to Drake. Drake misses the bunny. Rebound comes outside into the corner. It goes out of bounds to Plymouth. Joseph Price trying to save it in over there. Couldn't get to the basketball. There, it's unbelievable some of the shots that these players are missing. I know they are better ball players than what any of them have demonstrated thus far.
You really have the feeling that both clubs are going to break out of it very shortly.
Here we have Peterson shooting it up and in off the glass. Skiles got him the ball, spotted him open on the baseline. Peterson has his 4th point, and Plymouth is up by 3 once again, and now a steal by Samuelson, and a jump ball has been called. Samuelson and Blackman will jump it up, a mismatch. Samuelson at 5'11", Blackman at 6'2", but Blackman jumps center for Marion, so that has to tell you something about his leaping ability at 6'2", when they have Joseph Price at 6'5" and Carl Gennari at 6'4", and you've got a guard jumping center. Blackman gets it over to Price. Price will shoot it up. No go. Rebound off to Sissel. Up to Skiles. He will shoot it and scores. Scott Skiles with his 4th point, and it's a 5-point Plymouth lead. That's the biggest lead of the day for the Pilgrims. They led it at 6-2. Marion has held leads of as much as 3 points, I believe, on one occasion. Here's Blackman all the way to the corner. Plymouth staying in that man-to-man. Samuelson, Wendell is now on Blackman, and a foul on Skiles, a foolish foul, and Skiles upset with himself, reaching in there on Bilger. I think Bilger tricked him up a little bit. He thought he was going to move one way, and he moved the other, and Skiles ran into him for his 2nd personal foul, the team's 3rd. Bilger will inbound the ball. Wendell is guarding against Blackman. Peterson has drawn the assignment of guarding Price. The two leading scorers averaging 22 points a game each for Marion. Bilger looking for Price, gets it to him, turned around, blocked by Sissel, and a foul called on Sissel. Ron Sissel did not like that call. That's his first, team's fourth.
This will send Joseph Price to the free throw line. He's a 6'5" senior. He's headed for Notre Dame. He averages 22 points, shoots 76% at the free throw line. Had an older brother that played for Marion several years ago, Jovan Price.
Joseph Price makes it good at the line. He's I believe you said 76% free throw shooter, Jerry.
He has 3 points now in this game.
He has gotten off to a shaky start here. From the field, he makes the next free throw for his 4th point. But he's not alone in that boat. Here's a shot by Skiles. It's good. So Scott Skiles has hit his last 2 shots. And Plymouth has a 5-point lead again, 16-11. 6 points today for Scott Skiles. Here's Blackman. Over to Bilger. Plymouth, Marion came up a little bit of a mismatch there because of a screen. Wendell trying to guard against Price. Shot from outside by Blackman is good. Blackman with his 4th point. Price set a screen for Blackman, and Plymouth switched, and that left Wendell at 5'11", guarding against Price at 6'5". But Blackman shoots it up from outside. 16-13, 3-point lead for Plymouth. Skiles' long-range shot will not stick, and on the rebound, we've got a foul called against Peterson for pushing off. That'll be his 2nd, team's 5th, so both teams now in the 1-and-1 situation for the remainder of the half. We have 4 minutes and 35 seconds left in this first half of play.
If you just joined us, perhaps, a tremendous first game and a great comeback for the LaSalle Lions. Down by 9 at the midway point of the 3rd quarter. They went on to come back and defeat Fort Wayne Harding 75-66. Led by an outstanding performance by Howard Edwards and Steve Kingsbury. We'll talk about that later.
Joseph Price rebounds from this free throw and puts it back in. Joseph Price with his 6th point. And it's a 1-point ball game. Plymouth leading it 16-15. Skiles directing the offense. This is Wendell with it to Samuelson. That's Sissel. Back to Samuelson. Over to Wendell. Samuelson has it. Looks in the corner at Skiles. Price denying the ball, so Samuelson shoots it up and in. Samuelson left open. Guns it down from way out on the left side for his first field goal. Joseph Price quickly shoots it up, won't go. Blackman tips it up, won't go. Blackman gets the rebound. He's called for coming over the back. I think he was called on that first tip-in, Jerry. I don't believe that tip-in would have counted had it dropped.
Blackman's first foul, team's 6th.
Bill Green gets up and screams to the official that made the call. He said, "That's not your call, that's his call." He did not like the way the foul was called on Blackman. He thought an official that was out of position had made the call. At the line is number 34, Ron Sissel, shooting the 1-and-1. Free throw by Sissel is good. He's a 69% free throw shooter this season, so he's just earned the bonus shot. Sissel now with 3 points. Second free throw is also good for his 4th point. And it's a 5-point lead for Plymouth, 20-15. Drake inside, turnaround jumper, won't go. Rebound off on the floor, and Plymouth had the ball surrounded. Samuelson and Wendell had everybody boxed out of there, but they didn't hang on to it. It went off their hands out of bounds. It belongs to Marion. Absolutely no pressure on that rebound, but they could not hang on. First substitution of the ball game, waiting to come in for Plymouth. Price goes up for the shot, loses the handle on the ball, and on the rebound, the foul called on Ganeri. Checking in is number 50 for Plymouth, Jamie Johnson, a 6'4" sophomore, and going out will be Barry Peterson.
The foul on Ganeri is his first, the team's 7th. And we should have a free throw attempted here.
Be a 1-and-1 opportunity. Yes, it will. That's just a break here because one of the players went to the floor, and Scott Skiles asked for a towel and asked the official to wipe up the perspiration off the floor. So that's why we have a little delay before going to the line is Ron Sissel. Sissel has 4 points today, 2 of 2 at the free throw line. Free throw is good for his 5th point. Marion has not substituted in this ball game. Plymouth just makes their first substitution. It came at almost 13 minutes into the game. Sissel's second free throw is no good. He has 5 points on 3 of 4 at the line and 1 field goal. Plymouth with their biggest lead of the day, a 6-point advantage, 21-15. This is Bilger to Blackman. Jumper from long range by Blackman won't go. Rebound out on the floor, and Bilger picks it up. And an offensive foul on Bilger as he runs over Samuelson. Foul number 3 on Mark Bilger. And that will get a reaction from the Marion bench as Chris Potee, a 6-foot senior, will check into the ball game, replacing Mark Bilger.
That will be a non-shooting foul. That's a player-controlled foul. And Bilger with his 3rd foul.
Jerry, the Marion Giants certainly don't have the bench depth that they've had the last couple of years they've been down here. They lost some pretty good players last year. Rob Oles, a kid named Peters, I can't think of his first name right now, big blonde center, about 6'6", and they lost Rocky Adrianson, who's playing basketball for Northwestern. So they lost quite a bit. Even though they do have Price and Blackman back, they lost a lot of players off that team. And we mentioned in the pregame that they just don't appear to have much coming off the bench from their statistics. Shot missed there by Johnson, and rebound off to Marion. Here's an air ball put up by Blackman. Gennari puts it up from underneath and misses. Samuelson rebounds ahead to Wendell, to Skiles. Skiles goes up and is fouled by Drake. Foul number 3 on Drake. He's the second Marion player to pick up his 3rd personal foul. And Drake will come to the bench now.
Well, you can see the momentum has certainly shifted at this ball game. The Marion game is falling apart. And Plymouth is starting to get their game in gear, a game style that we're used to seeing now. More control, better performance, fewer turnovers. And we'll see Scott Skiles go to the free throw line. He missed 2 free throws in the first quarter. Very unusual for him to miss 2 in a row. The attendance, the official attendance for the afternoon here at the Coliseum is 9,226. And again, we do appreciate the superb job that the officials did getting the Coliseum ready after there was so much dust and dirt in this place yesterday due to the flood conditions.
Skiles missed his first 2 free throws. This one a little shaky, but it drops for him for his 7th point. Second free throw is also good for Skiles. He now has 8, and Plymouth has an 8-point lead, the biggest lead of the afternoon for the Pilgrims. Marion led by as much as 3 at one point. Johnson tips the pass. Price saves it, gets it underneath to Bilger, and Bilger scores. Or excuse me, not Bilger. That's Gennari, number 44. Gennari scores. He's been about the only offensive weapon thus far for Marion. Shot from the side by Samuelson is good. Samuelson with his 4th point. Here's Price. Long jumper, no go. Rebound off to Sissel. To Johnson, ahead to Skiles. 2 on 3. Skiles takes it in, lays it off the glass too strong. Rebound comes out to Johnson. Around to Wendell, underneath to Skiles. He lays it up and in, off the glass. Plymouth up by 10, 27-17. 10 points today for Scott Skiles. Here's Blackman. Underneath he goes with it, and it's put up and in by number 50, Greg Love, a 6'3 sophomore who came in a few moments ago when Ron Drake picked up his 3rd personal foul. Here's Wendell trapped, finally gets it over to Samuelson, and the Marion bench very upset, thought they had a 5-second count. 1:40 left here in the first half. Plymouth with an 8-point lead, 27-19. Plymouth spreading things out. They'd like to draw Marion out of that zone, make him play a man-to-man. 1:20 left to play here in the first half. Shot from the free throw line by Sissel is good. Ron Sissel from the line with his 7th point of the game, and it's a 10-point lead once again for Plymouth, 29-19. Here's Blackman. Out with it to Gennari. Over with it, it goes to Potee. Inside now, that's Price. Turnaround jumper is good. Joseph Price with his 8th point. Happy to finally see one of those drop for him, he says. He turned around and kind of had a sigh of relief that one finally went. He and Blackman struggling here as the Pilgrims also have been struggling. Both teams not playing well at all here in the first half. The Pilgrims seem to kind of broken out of that in the last couple of minutes. Wendell's left open. He shoots it. Won't go. Rebound is off to Marion. We're down to 30 seconds. 8-point lead for Plymouth. Blackman shoots from outside. Short. Rebound to Johnson. To Skiles. They've got a 2-on-1. Now 2-on-2 as Potee hustles back. That's Skiles into the lane. Gives over to Sissel. Right back to Skiles. Down to 15 seconds. Plymouth going to slow it up. Perhaps wait for the final shot of the half. Wendell going to the floor. Gets the ball to Johnson. Back to Wendell. Must be a slick spot over there. Skiles slips a couple times. Skiles starts inside. Loses the ball. Johnson gets it. Puts it in. And that's going to be the last shot of the first half as the buzzer sounds. Plymouth leading Marion by 10, 31 to 21, as Jamie Johnson got the ball when it slipped out of Scott Skiles' hands, got it underneath and put it right up and in with 2 seconds left to end the first half with Plymouth leading it by 10 points. We'll be back. Plymouth jitters here. The shooting percentages in the first half, 29% for Marion, 39% for Plymouth. Plymouth on the season hitting almost 55% of their shots. Marion almost 51%. So certainly neither team playing up to their capabilities. Here's the tip to start the third quarter, and it's controlled by Marion. We'll set the lineups for you here in just a moment. That's Drake with the ball. Looks like Marion going with the same 5 players that started the ball game. Drake, Bilger, Blackman, Price, and Ganeri. For Plymouth, also the same 5 players that started the ball game played all the first quarter. Joseph Price shot from outside, won't go. Rebound off to Scott Skiles. Plymouth in there with Wendell, Samuelson, Skiles, Sissel, and Peterson. Skiles shoots, won't go. Rebound off to Ganeri. Ahead to Bilger. Off on the baseline, it goes to Blackman. He drives. Nice drive inside by James Blackman for the layup. Didn't appear to be really any room there, but he got inside for the layup. Blackman scores the basket, his 6th point of the afternoon. It's 31-23. Plymouth leading it by 8. This is Wendell over to Skiles. Down on the left side, it goes to Samuelson. Wendell again. That's Skiles. Plymouth being very patient. They have an 8-point lead. Certainly they want to work for the good shot. Every second they can take off that clock helps the Pilgrims as long as they hold that lead. Sissel almost turning it over there. As he had a little trouble handling the ball. Skiles with it out high now. Lobs it underneath, intended for Wendell, tipped away by Drake. And Jerry, that seems a little strange, trying an alley-oop play to a 5'11" player, but they have done that with some success this year.
A lot of courage. Keep your eye on Scott Skiles. The next basket he makes will be his 744th point, which will be a new record for single-season scoring. Here he goes.
And he has it. Point number 10 for Scott Skiles. Or point number 12, rather. A 10-point lead for Plymouth. 33-23 the score.
He has broken Bruce Grimm's record.
This is Blackman working against Wendell. That's Bilger. Inside to Drake, and he gets it. Ron Drake has his first basket of the afternoon. And now Sissel pointing to perhaps a wet spot on the floor down in the Marion lane, the free throw lane. So we've got a break where the official dries it off.
It's also the possibility that we could have dust on the floor because, as we've said as late as yesterday, heavy equipment, sandbags in this facility preparing and helping out with this Fort Wayne flood crisis. But again, we'll point out that they have done a marvelous job in preparing this Coliseum for play today.
Have over 9,000 fans in here. The seating capacity, Jerry, do you have?
A little over 10,000, then.
Wendell with it, trying to get it down inside. It's tipped and stolen away by the Giants. Ganeri finally controls it. That's Blackman up with it quickly. He'll shoot it from outside and scores. James Blackman has his 8th point. And Plymouth's 10-point lead is now dwindled down to 6. 33-27 with 5.5 minutes left here in the third quarter. That's Sissel. Over to Wendell. Back to Sissel. Baseline to Skiles. Fadeaway jumper is good. Skiles off the glass for his 14th point. 35-27. 8-point lead Plymouth. Ganeri gets it out to Blackman. Blackman has it knocked away by Sissel, and it's out of bounds, kicked out by Drake. Sissel and Skiles, I think, got their wires crossed a little bit there after that steal, and almost left the ball in the hands of Marion, but Drake couldn't control it.
4:59 left to play, third quarter. Plymouth with an 8-point lead, 35-27.
And they have the basketball. This is Skiles into the lane. Fadeaway jumper. Won't go. Rebound comes out on the floor. Picked up there by Sissel. Starts inside. Knocked away. Nice defensive play. I believe it was Price. Here's Price. Shoots it up off the glass. Won't go. Rebound to Blackman. He puts it up and in. James Blackman on the follow-up has his 10th point. And it's a 6-point lead. 35-29. Plymouth in front. They've led by as much as 10. Marion had a 3-point lead at one point in the first quarter, or first half rather, right at the start of the second quarter when they made a basket to take a 9-6 lead. Skiles driving basket and a offensive foul on Scott Skiles. That'll be his third. Let's see if the basket will count. The basket is good. The foul is on Scott Skiles. That will be his third personal. Skiles now with 16 points. And a timeout going to be called by Plymouth with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left in the third quarter, and the Pilgrims holding an 8-point advantage. We have a break in the action. Let's take this 60-second timeout.
Hi, I'm Everett Riley. I'd like to invite you to Riley's Studio One, where we're involved in the total look and care of hair and skin for ladies and men. We at Riley's not only offer services from hair replacement to nail care, we offer them with a staff of highly trained, personable, professional, motivated people. It is our desire to share with you our talents so that you might achieve your personal grooming goals. We thank you from Riley's Studio One.
The answers to many of your income tax questions are here in IRS Publication 17. Over 150 pages of details. I'm Henry Block with number 9 of my 17 reasons why you should come to H&R Block. Our preparers receive special training in the important details that make taxes so complex, and they're trained to use those details to your advantage.
H&R Block, 17 reasons, one smart decision.
All right, 4:12 left to play, third quarter. Plymouth by 8 points, 37-29. Lynn told you a moment ago they led by as many as 10 the last time at 33-23.
Right now, it's, I believe you said 37-29. Here's Ganeri from outside. Won't go. Rebound off to Skiles. Skiles, long pass ahead to Wendell. Wendell, guarded by Price, gets him off his feet, drives right around him and lays it in. Nice move by Phil Wendell. 5'11" Wendell going up against the 6'5" Price. He got Price to leave the floor, then went right around him for the layup. Blackman driving layup missed. Rebound outside to Samuelson. Samuelson to Skiles. Skiles dribbles around Drake, lays it up off the glass, won't go. Rebound pass outlet to Blackman. Blackman has it dribbled away from him by Wendell, and a foul called on Wendell. Phil Wendell draws his first personal, team second of the half. It will belong to Marion out of bounds. Jerry, that was a beautiful move made by Phil Wendell down there a moment ago up against Joseph Price.
Wendell, as you indicated, 5'11", and Price at 6'5", so he gave away 6 inches on the play. Inbounds play for Marion.
That's Blackman with it. 3:27 left, and Plymouth, Jerry, has that 10-point lead once again, 39-29.
Fifth time they've had that lead.
This is Bilger, and now that's Blackman with it. Into Drake, spinning jumper is good. Ron Drake with his 4th point. 39-31, Plymouth by 8. Down to Skiles at the baseline. Skiles coming back out with it. Trapped over there, loses the dribble, has it knocked away, saves the ball, gives over to Wendell. Back out high to Skiles. Skiles will reset the offense. Less than 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Samuelson to Skiles, breaking to the basket, tipped by Blackman, touched by Skiles, out of bounds to Marion.
Well, the pass was a little bit beyond his reach and low, and that's the only the sixth turnover for Plymouth, and Marion has committed only 6.
A little different than the first ball game we had. Here's Price. Fadeaway jumper won't go. Drake follow-up and in. Ron Drake on the follow-up shot has his 6th point, and it's a 6-point lead, and now a steal by Drake. Bilger with the ball. 39-33, and now Bilger loses it. Here's Skiles, takes it down, lays it up and in, but it will not count. They say he was fouled before the shot. Skiles wants the basket, but it won't count. Drake draws the foul. That's going to be his 4th. Team's first of the half. So Marion did a good job of cutting down on the fouls here in the 3rd quarter, but now Drake has picked up his 4th and will go to the bench. Checking in is Greg Love, a 6'3" sophomore.
Scott Skiles will go to the free throw line. He is 2 out of 4. Sorry, he will not go to the free throw line. It's a common foul.
Samuelson will inbound the ball. Gets it in to Wendell, around to Sissel. Sissel, jumper from the right side of the key, won't go. Rebound to Samuelson as it comes out high, back to Sissel. That's Peterson to Skiles, to Wendell in the corner. Trying to get the pass away to Samuelson. It's stolen away by Marion. Here's Blackman. He slams it down. And Samuelson is injured. Samuelson is on the floor and injured. Price turned into him and ran right over him. Samuelson hoping for the charge, but the officials did not see what happened, so no call was made. Blackman got the slam, and now Marion is back to within 4 at 39-35, and there on your TV screen you see Samuelson being ministered to at midcourt by the Plymouth coaching staff. Jack Edison, a very concerned coach, along with his assistants there.
Well, James Blackman and Ron Drake have really ignited this ball club in this 3rd quarter. And Marion has scored 6 unanswered points in the last 2 minutes of play. Plymouth's 10-point lead has been diminished to 4 with 1:55 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Blackman now with 12 points, 8 of those points coming in this quarter. Ron Drake with all 6 of his points in this 3rd quarter. First game this afternoon, South Bend LaSalle defeated Fort Wayne Harding 75-66. The LaSalle Lions coming back from a 9-point deficit midway in the 3rd quarter to win the ball game by 9. They'll be in the championship game tonight. Tip off at 8:15 against the winner of this game between Plymouth and Marion.
Mark Stukenborg, a 6'2" junior, has just made his first appearance in the lineup for Plymouth. He comes in replacing Samuelson. I don't believe Samuelson too severely injured, just shaken after that collision with Joseph Price, and he has gone to the bench. Samuelson was trying to draw the charge on Price, but the officials did not see it. They were following the ball, and the ball was headed up the floor. Stukenborg trying to get it out to Skiles, stolen by Blackman, and Blackman trying to slam it down. Two-handed slam by Blackman. You can see that coming as he was working on getting his steps down. And Blackman has 14 points this afternoon, and it's a 2-point ball game. Plymouth leading Marion 39-37, and again we have a break while they wipe up a perspiration spot or something, a slick spot on the floor. Coach Jack Edison takes this opportunity to make a substitution. Into the ball game is number 50, Jamie Johnson, and I believe Stukenborg is the man that goes out. It is.
It wasn't more than
doesn't stay in long.
It wasn't more than 2 minutes ago, Lynn, that I mentioned that Plymouth had only 4 turnovers. Since then, they've committed 5, and that has been the difference here in this tremendous resurgence by Marion, as they have scored now 8 unanswered points in the last 2 minutes and 15 seconds of play.
39-37, Plymouth leading it by 2 with 1:20 left to play here in the 3rd quarter. Skiles and Wendell playing with it outside. Peterson back to Skiles. Pilgrim's going to try and take some time off that clock. Wendell double team, gets it over to Peterson. Peterson has used up his dribble, gets it to Skiles coming around. It's Wendell back out to Skiles. Down to 45 seconds. Skiles, the scoreboard clock here in Fort Wayne is right at center court. You may have just noticed Skiles looked to his bench and point to the clock, wanted to know how much time was left here in the quarter. It's very difficult for the players to see that clock from the floor. Almost have to go to a sideline and look up. because it is a very large clock suspended right in the middle of the floor. There's Wendell over to Skiles. 22 seconds left to play. Wendell with the basketball. To Johnson, back to Wendell. We're down to 15 seconds. Here we hit 10 and counting. Skiles has it, almost tipped away. Here's Sissel. The shot with 6 seconds is good. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Long shot at the buzzer is over the backboard and out of bounds. In fact, there's 1 second left, so Plymouth will have a chance for a long shot. Now the official is saying Plymouth will get the ball out of bounds at their end. I don't quite understand that. They should get it out where it went out of bounds. The only time they would get it out at their own end is if the man throwing it in had thrown it out of bounds at the other end of the floor, and that did not happen. He got it into midcourt, and the guy shot it. From about the midcourt stripe, Coach Bill Green over arguing his case. Samuelson going to check back in for the final second here of the third quarter. What we're waiting on right now in the confusion is that final second was inadvertently ticked off the clock, and there should be one more tick left, so they've got to run the clock back down to 1 second. Plymouth leading it by 4, 41-37.
He's going to lose his case, Bill Green is.
I can't believe that he can lose this. If he does, it's a terrible call. The shot was put up from midcourt. It was not thrown from the end line. Bill Green does lose it. You see him there on your screen walking with one of his assistants, and I have to agree with him. That's a terrible call. Samuelson, well, the clock is not run back down, and the officials starting play. Jerry, these officials losing control of this ball game very quickly. Should be 1 second left on the clock. Are they saying 3 seconds now?
What I think is happening, Lynn, is that the shot that was taken probably did not count. If they put 3 seconds back on the clock, something happened on the inbounds play.
Okay, well, maybe that is.
So there was no official shot taken.
If that is the case, well, then maybe the officials are not as far off as we thought they were. Here's Samuelson, gets into Wendell. Jumper by Wendell, won't go. Rebound by Marion. Length of the floor shot is just under the basket. And the third quarter has ended with Plymouth leading Marion by 4, 41-37. We'll be back for the
fourth quarter underway. Plymouth by 4, 41-37.
Jamie Johnson going to try his luck at going up against Mr. Blackman to start the fourth quarter. Blackman has easily controlled the tip to start the first 3 quarters, and he again controls the tip to his teammate. This is Bilger with the ball into the front court. It's Bilger, Blackman, Ganeri, Price. Shot put up by Blackman, won't go. Price rebounds, puts it up and in. Price and the other player is Greg Love on the floor for the Giants. He's number 50. For Plymouth, it's Wendell, Skiles, Samuelson, Sissel, and Johnson. So Johnson starting in place of Peterson. That's point number 10 for Joseph Price this afternoon. 41-39, 2-point lead for Plymouth. Just underway here with the fourth quarter. Samuelson with the ball over to Wendell. Steps around the defender, shoots from outside, and scores. Bill Wendell from outside for his 8th point. 43-39, 4-point lead Plymouth. Here's Bilger. Blackman. Back to Bilger. To Price. Shot from the free throw line by Price. Won't go. Rebound off to Sissel. Sissel. Over to Johnson, and Johnson is fouled by Blackman. A blind official could have called that one because of the smack when Blackman slapped at the ball on the hand of the Plymouth player Johnson. He could not help but call it. Now we have a timeout called by Marion. They trail by 4, 43-39, 6:46 left. Let's take this 60-second break.
A life in the theater. Well, it can be fun. And the fun can keep right on rolling, right into retirement with an individual retirement account from Teachers Credit Union, where saving just $200 a year for 35 years can add up to $144,000 for the fun time of your life.
You're never too young to start your IRA.
It's happening right this very moment. The Waterbed Shed's fantastic 5th anniversary sale. the biggest and the best waterbed sale of the year. Come out to the Waterbed Shed for this year's greatest selection and lowest possible prices. Plus, with every qualified purchase, you'll receive a fun-filled hot air balloon ride over Michiana that you'll never forget. The Waterbed Shed's fantastic 5th anniversary sale on US 31, just south of the state line. Remember our name, the Waterbed Shed.
We're resuming action here at the Fort Wayne Coliseum with 6:46 left to play in the ball game. The score is 43-39, Plymouth by 4. First game this afternoon won by Southfield LaSalle over Fort Wayne Harding, 75-66. Plymouth will inbounds the ball, and it goes into Wendell, and he'll bring it up over the timeline, as you see.
That's Wendell with the basketball. Pass down, a bad pass. It was intended for Johnson, stolen away there by Love. Love almost lost it, but got it back under control. A bad pass there. Turnover number 10 against the Pilgrims. 7 committed by Marion. And now we've got a foul called as Blackman dumped it off to Price. Price made the basket, which will not count. Foul number 2 against
Phil Wendell.
And that is the team's 3rd foul. So a common foul will give the ball out of bounds to Marion. Price to inbound the ball.
3 team fouls against Plymouth, 2 team fouls against Marion.
Price gets it in out high to Bilger. Back to Price on the wing. Has it knocked away by Sissel, but Bilger saves it over to Blackman. Blackman to Bilger. Long-range jumper by Bilger is short. Rebound Ganeri and in. Carl Ganeri has done a job this afternoon for Marion as he gets the rebound basket. 43-41. Plymouth lead at 2 points. They've been outscored 12-4 over the last stretch. They led at 39-29. Their lead is now 43-41. Beginning back in the 3rd quarter. 5 minutes and 45 seconds left here in the ball game. Plymouth with the ball and a 2-point lead. Johnson is left open, drives the lane, misses the shot. Rebound Skiles. He has his shot rejected by Blackman, and Bilger has it up quickly. 3-on-3. Here's Price from the baseline. No good. Rebound Blackman. He has it knocked away by Skiles, but saving it is Love. He puts it up no good, and a foul on the rebound. Blackman called, I believe, for coming over the top. Foul number 3 on Blackman, if indeed it is against him. We'll have to wait for the call. That is the signal. Number 34, Blackman, or 24, Blackman, draws his 3rd personal. And that is the team 3rd. So low, not very many fouls whistled here in the 2nd half, Jerry. 3 against each team.
Right. And we've got 5:24 left to play in the game. Plymouth hanging on to a 2-point lead, 43-41.
This is Wendell. Over to Samuelson. Seems to be a slick spot there on that one spot on the floor, Jerry. Wendell lost his footing. They've wiped it off 3 or 4 times. Beautiful pass from Skiles to Sissel, and Sissel gets through. Skiles went up, looked like he was going to shoot, spotted Sissel wide open underneath, fired him the ball for the easy 2. And Plymouth has stretched their lead out to 4 once again, 45-41. And for Sissel, that was point number 11. 4 minutes, 59 seconds left to play. Plymouth with the 4-point advantage. Here's Blackman. Takes it to the left of the key. Back out high with it to Bilger. Back to Blackman. Long jumper. Won't go. Rebound comes out long to Samuelson. Over to Johnson. Ahead to Wendell. It's tipped away out of bounds there. Last touch by Bilger. Marion bench yelled for a traveling call, I believe, on Johnson. That's what they felt like he had shuffled his feet. That's Samuelson into Johnson. Back out to Samuelson. Over to Sissel. Sissel moves to the baseline. Fadeaway jumper. No good. It wouldn't have counted anyway. He's called on a charge. Foul number 2 on Ron Sissel. Team foul number 4. So on the next foul against Plymouth, Marion will start going to the line for 1-and-1 opportunities. 4:26 left to play in the ball game. Plymouth leading at 45-41. This is Bilger. Over to Price. Price shoots it up. Spins out. Rebound goes out of bounds to Marion. Gennari did a good job breaking in on the baseline to battle for that rebound. It appeared Plymouth had everything blocked off inside, but Gennari worked his way in, did not control the rebound, but kept Plymouth from getting it. So a good play by Gennari. Bilger inbounds it to Love. Inside to Blackman. Blackman goes up with a shot, and we've got a foul called on Wendell. The shot had no chance. Foul number 3 on Phil Wendell, and at the free throw line will be James Blackman to shoot a pair. Blackman, a 64% free throw shooter this season, will be at the line for the first time today. He has 14 points on 7 field goals.
And he got 10 of those 14 in the third quarter when Marion came back from that 10-point deficit to pull within 2 points of Plymouth. They'll have 2 shots here, 4 minutes and 8 seconds left to play in the game. The winner to play LaSalle in the championship game tonight at 8:15 will be on the air at 8 o'clock.
Free throw by Blackman is good. 45-42, 3-point lead for Plymouth. Plymouth bench wants a timeout, but they can't get the attention of any of their players, and now they finally do. We'll keep it here. 4 minutes and 8 seconds left in the ball game. Plymouth leading it by 3, 45-42. Blackman will be at the line as we get back to action here in a few moments to try his second free throw. He has 15 points.
That is the first attempted free throw by either ball club here in the second half. James Blackman making his 15th point. So it's been a relatively foul-free ball game. And as a matter of fact, throughout the entire game, we've had not too many free throws taken. Plymouth is 9 out of 12 for the ball game, and Marion, at the moment, is 4 out of 6.
Jerry, we have a couple of final scores in. We gave them earlier, but let's give them again. 6th-ranked Indianapolis Cathedral defeated Connorsville 71-62 at Indianapolis. Anderson-Madison Heights bumped 20th-ranked Lafayette Jeff 70-66 in the first game over at Lafayette. So now among the ranked teams, top-ranked Evansville Bosse remains. They're playing, of course, in Evansville semi-state. We have 2 ranked teams played here, number 4 ranked Plymouth, number 7 Marion. So one of these 2 will be gone in a matter of 4 minutes and 8 seconds, barring an overtime. Indianapolis Cathedral remains alive as they move into the championship game of the Indianapolis sectional. They're ranked 6th. 13th ranked Jeffersonville is also alive. They are playing in the Evansville semi-state. And that's all that's left of the ranked teams, with Lafayette Harrison getting bumped today. Free throw by Blackman is good, and he has his team back to within 2. 45-43. 16 points today for James Blackman. He's scoring close to his average. He's averaging 21. Now steal by Price ahead to Bilger. Bilger lays it up and in, and it's tied at 45. Good defensive play by Joseph Price. And the ball game is all tied up at 45 with 3:45 left to play. Marion played a matchup zone earlier. Now it appears to me that they have switched into a man-to-man. Now let's see. They're still playing the matchup zone. They're just coming out and putting more pressure on the ball. Here's Skiles with it. He's fouled by Price. Price called for reaching in. And again, a player slips on that one spot, Jerry. They've wiped it up about 4 times. Blackman just slipped again. He is telling the official about it. There's something, I don't know what the problem is, but that's been a trouble area.
It's today. I suppose possible there could be some dripping from the ceiling area, although we're not speculating.
I haven't seen anything, and doesn't appear to be that way, but the players sure have had problems in that one spot on the floor.
Indeed, and that foul, by the way, on Joseph Price was his 2nd, the team's 4th. So the next foul on Marion will send Plymouth to the line.
It's a common foul. The Pilgrims are lining up for the free throw, but they won't get the opportunity now. Samuelson gets it in to Wendell. Back over to Samuelson. And there a player slips down again, that same spot. Skiles under to Sissel, and Sissel scores. Nice feed by Scott Skiles, and Sissel gets the easy 2 for his 13th. You saw Bilger on your screen there slip down that same spot. We've had several players slide down. 47-45, Plymouth leading by 2 with just over 3 minutes left. Here's Price. That's Blackman. He lays it up and in. Nice feed from Price. Good basket by Blackman. It's tied at 47. This is Samuelson. He's tied up by Blackman. A jump ball. A jump ball has been called. It will be Samuelson and Blackman. Certainly, the advantage goes to Blackman at 6'2", and as we've told you before, he's the man who jumps at center court to start each quarter for Marion. Drake is back into the ball game, and Love has gone to the bench. Drake went to the bench with 4 fouls earlier, but he's back in. Marion controls the basketball. We're tied with 2:40. Here's Price, outside jumper. It's good. Marion has the 2-point lead, 49-47. Marion with the lead, Jerry, for the first time since early in the second quarter. They lead it by 2. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to play. 49-47 is the score. And now Skiles turns the ball over on the dribble. Scott Skiles loses the dribble and turns it over. And quickly a timeout taken by Marion. Coach Jack Edison over talking to the official. Does not seem to be irate about anything.
Well, that's
just asking him a couple of questions. I'm not sure what trying to watch and see if I could tell what was being said. I could not. I think he looked to me like he was questioning him about Drake. I think Jack may have thought that Drake had fouled out when he went to the bench earlier, but it was just his 4th foul.
And by the way, that turnover in Skiles, I don't know if our fans could notice it. Scott took his eye off the ball as he was dribbling to look for someone to pass to, and when he did that, of course, he created the turnover. And that is 13 turnovers charged to Plymouth unofficially. Marion has only 7. And Lynn, that's really part of the story here in the second half.
That certainly is a big part of it, and uncharacteristic of Plymouth to have turnovers like that, 13 turnovers.
And 10 of those 13 have come in the second half, which is even more uncharacteristic. But this Plymouth Ball Club is a very, very heady club, and they're not easily rattled. And if you'll notice, when Skiles turned that ball over, he didn't throw up his hands in despair. He just quickly called a timeout. He said, we've got to talk things over with our coach. And there really is a lot of time. 2:17 left to play.
Wendell, Samuelson, Skiles, Tissel, and Johnson on the floor for Plymouth. Blackman, Bilger, Price, Ganeri, and Drake are playing for Marion. 2 minutes, 10 seconds, and counting. Marion with the ball and a 2-point lead. Their first lead since early in the second quarter, when they led it 9-6. Plymouth came back from that point to take leads of as much as 10 points. But that slowly began to fade away midway through the third quarter. Marion going to take some time off the clock. That's Drake and Blackman. Blackman with the ball. Still on the dribble. Over to Bilger. Bilger. 1:38 left. To Ganeri, to Bilger. Out to Blackman.
If they foul anybody, it should be Ganeri.
I don't imagine Ganeri will be seeing much of the ball. He's staying down on the baseline. There he comes out to take a pass. Bilger doesn't give it to him, though. Gives over to Drake. Back out to Blackman. 1:20 left to play. This is Bilger.
They have now run off a minute since that timeout.
Here's Drake falling to the floor. Traveling is the call.
He slipped on that slippery spot again over that corner that time.
1:14 left to go in the ball game. Marion leading Plymouth by 2, 49-47. Plymouth gets the ball back on the turnover by Drake. This is Wendell. Gives to Samuelson. Approaching the 60-second mark. That's Wendell. Breaks to the baseline. Cross court to Skiles. Underneath to Johnson. He loses the handle. Ganeri up with it. He throws it away. Samuelson has it to Skiles. 50 seconds left.
What a break for Plymouth to get that ball back under those circumstances.
Well, Skiles made a nice feed to Johnson, but he didn't control the ball. Here's Skiles. Gives it over to Wendell. Shot from outside is good for Wendell. We're tied at 49 with 35 seconds left. Here's Bilger into the front court. 10 points tonight for this afternoon, rather, for Wendell. This is Blackman. 27 seconds left. Blackman to Ganeri. He misses the shot. Rebound off to Plymouth. Skiles. Long pass ahead for Wendell. Wendell beats the Marion player to it, lays it in, and is fouled. Wendell wins the foot race with Bilger to get to the ball, lays it in, and Bilger is called on the personal foul, and Wendell has a chance for the three-point play that would put Plymouth up by 3. 51-49. Plymouth with the 2-point lead, and Wendell going to the line, but not before. We have 17 seconds left. There you see some of the red and white clad Plymouth fans, and I tell you, they are here in force. They have the southwest portion of this arena filled. They have about a quarter of the arena filled with red and white. They're just to our left in our broadcast position. There's the split screen shot of Coach Green talking to his players, Coach Edison talking to the Pilgrims. They're not going to the bench. They're standing out in the edge of the floor. There you see Coach Green pointing up to the clock, giving his players instructions, but Wendell certainly can help the Plymouth cause with this free throw, Jerry. A 3-point bulge with just 17 seconds left.
Well, remember we talked a moment ago with 2:17 left to go on the timeout called by Skiles for Plymouth. And we remarked the fact that Plymouth was a very cool ball club. They waited out that minute that Marion ran off in conserving the clock. And then that slipping of the Marion ball player turned the ball over to Plymouth. Plymouth came down court, had a turnover, got it back on a turnover, and then on a fine pass by Skiles, who is a very good assist man, Wendell scored the layup. And then they came back down the court, got the ball again, and Wendell went in for the layup for his 4th point in this stretch. So Wendell has scored all the points, Lynn, since the ball game was 49-47 Marion, and he'll have a chance to make it his 5th consecutive point. And now we've got another timeout by Marion to put the pressure on him.
I'm not so sure about that long pass that was made to Wendell. It was a very poor pass, but Wendell just used his quickness to beat Bilger to the basketball. Bilger was going after it. In fact, it looked like Bilger was going to get to it before Wendell, but Wendell got there just a step ahead of him, barely edged him out, slipped right around him and in for the layup, and it almost appeared he was too far under to make the layup. It was just an all-around outstanding play by the senior, Mr. Phil Wendell. And he's below his season average here this afternoon, but he's made a couple of big plays here in the last few minutes.
Well, the 2 top scorers for Plymouth, Skiles and Wendell, are both below their average, but that's the type of game this is.
It's a low-scoring game, yes.
Right.
51-49 right now.
See,
Plymouth with the lead.
Plymouth normally scores 76 points a ball game, so they're 25 points below their per-game average. Now let's look at Sissel as he goes to the free throw line, and the official just told Bill Green he has 1 timeout left. That's Bill Green of Marion.
Phil Wendell, a 78% free thrower. Today he is 4 of 4 at the line. That accounted for all of his points in the first half. That was the 4th foul on Mark Bilger. There's the free throw by Wendell. It's no good. Rebound off to Marion. Blackman has it. 14 seconds left. That's Bilger. Drake. 10 seconds left. Bilger looking at the clock. To Blackman. Spinning jumper is good. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. Timeout called by who? Plymouth. Both teams are trying to get a timeout. This will be charged to Plymouth. We're tied at 51 with 3 seconds left. 3 seconds showing on the clock. The flow of emotions, Jerry. The Marion fans during the last couple of timeouts have been sitting down, and you can see that tension on their face. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? We hope he misses the free throw. He missed the free throw. They're all up on their feet. The Plymouth fans in stunned disbelief, and just going back and forth in this arena. The Plymouth fans, as we told you, in the southwest portion of the arena. The Marion fans are in the northeast portion.
Well, Lynn, if we can go back, and by the way, that was Blackman's 20th point, but if we can go back exactly 1 week ago, we had a similar situation in the Michigan City Regional. As you recall, LaSalle, although they were trailing by a point, had 4 seconds to bring the ball down the length of the court. They did it with Reggie Bird on the game-winning shot with no time on the clock. Now, Plymouth has 1 second less to do that. They've got 3 seconds, so let's see what their design play, if it can accomplish what obviously they're set out to do here.
Reggie Bird brought it all the way to the top of the key, and now Marion going to use their last timeout here. They saw what Plymouth set up, and so they called the timeout quickly, and that's it for Coach Bill Green.
It really,
I believe Plymouth still has 1 more left.
I had them with 1, yes. It really matters little, I don't think, to me. Well, I guess you could never know with Marion. If they should happen to get a steal, a timeout would be important. By the way, the first game, for those of you who may have just joined us, the South Bend LaSalle Lions defeated the Fort Wayne Harding Hawks 75-66. The Lions coming back from a 9-point third-quarter deficit to win the ball game and move into the championship game tonight against the winner of this game, either Plymouth or Marion. And we may know in 3 seconds, or it may take another 3 minutes in an overtime.
We definitely know the thing Plymouth does not want to do is commit the turnover here. They don't want to give Marion another shot at it.
And Marion certainly does not want to commit a foul.
That's correct. So those two things, I'm sure, have been drilled into the heads of these 10 players. It will be Samuelson to inbound the ball. Plymouth lining up at midcourt. Skiles breaks to the basketball. It's tipped away and out of bounds by Ganeri. A second ticks off the clock. 2 seconds left. Ganeri almost came up with a steal.
What a play by Ganeri. What a gutsy play by Ganeri.
Easily could have drawn the foul, and now Plymouth is going to burn their final timeout of the ball game. Looks like we very well could be headed for an overtime period. The score tied at 51.
Well, this obviously changes Coach Jack Edison's strategy. A second is so extremely important when you're down to just 3 and now 2, so that he's going to have to design, no doubt, a different inbounds play, perhaps a longer pass inbounds.
I'm sure he didn't like the pass he just saw made by Samuelson. He threw that into a lot of pressure. A double team on Skiles. You saw Marion's defensive plan was to put 2 men on Skiles rather than pressure against the man making the pass inbounds. That, of course, gives them a one-man advantage when you have a player throwing it in. They've got 5 players to put on 4 defensively unless you defend against the inbound man. Now it looks like they are going to put pressure on the inbound man. Sissel will inbound at this time, and Ganeri is going to be with him down there. Long pass almost gets the scoreboard. It's stolen by Blackman. The buzzer sounds. The ball game is over. We're headed to overtime. Well, I tell you, Sissel came within a whisker of hitting that scoreboard, Jerry. I don't know what the ground rules are here. If it hits that scoreboard, that be considered out of bounds, and Marion get it out at the other end. That's speculation on my part, but we're headed to overtime now. The score tied at 51 each. 3-minute overtime period coming up. We'll keep it here and give you a look at some of the statistics after 32 ball games.
Interesting here in the overtime. For Marion, Ron Drake has 4, Mark Bilger 4, James Blackman 3. For Plymouth, Phil Wendell 3 and Scott Skiles 3. So Plymouth is in good shape, but Marion has 2 ball players with 4 fouls each.
Plymouth has Wendell, Samuelson, Skiles, Sissel, and Johnson on the floor. Marion has Blackman, Price, Drake, Bilger, and Ganeri. And the tip controlled by Blackman, and he tips it out of bounds. It will be Plymouth ball out of bounds. That's twice out of 5 jumps. 2 times Blackman has hit it too hard and slapped it out of bounds. Skiles gives it over to Wendell, to Sissel, to Samuelson. Back out to Sissel. That's Wendell. Out high to Samuelson. Back to Wendell. Into Johnson. Johnson brings it back out to Wendell. Remind you, NCAA basketball action coming up here on TV 22. Regional championship games. The NCAA also playing for a trip to the Final Four today. Out west, it'll be Georgetown and Oregon State. And in the Mid-East tournament from Birmingham, it'll be Alabama-Birmingham playing Louisville. Those games coming up this afternoon after our coverage ends here in Fort Wayne. Johnson underneath for Sissel, stolen away, and Drake saves it from going out of bounds. No, it hits Drake before it goes out. Drake pulled that play off in the first quarter and almost got it there. He jumped high and bounced it back in off of Sissel, but it brushed Drake as it was going out of bounds.
We're down to 2:04 here in the overtime. Score remains tied.
Gets it in to Wendell. No shots put up yet in this overtime period. Plymouth has controlled the ball throughout it thus far. There's Johnson. Gets it over to Samuelson. Sissel. Wendell. Down to 1:50. That's Skiles. Back out to Wendell. Over to Samuelson. To Sissel. To Wendell.
As the clock runs down, Lynn, I think the odds are against a shot being taken more and more.
This is Wendell. Underneath to Skiles. Skiles lays it up and in.
He was open.
Nice pass from Wendell, and Skiles did a good job of working free. Plymouth scores first in overtime. 53-51, a minute 25 left. Drake driving in, scores, and is fouled. Or is it an offensive foul? The basket is good. Offensive foul. Drake is fouled out of the ball game. That's his fifth, but the basket will count, so the score is tied at 53. And I believe Johnson will be at the free throw line. I think he's the player that had the position on the floor. Coming into the ball game is Greg Love. But Jerry Drake did a good job of avoiding that fifth foul. He picked it up fairly early here in the second half, sat out for a few minutes, and came back in and played a good deal going down the stretch and was able to avoid that fifth foul. I think Johnson is going to be at the line for the 1-and-1. Jamie Johnson is a 58% free throw shooter, Jerry. Of the players on the floor, he's the worst shooter. Sissel at 69%, Skiles 77, Samuelson 80, Wendell 78, Johnson at 58.
That will leave, incidentally, not so incidentally, Mark Bilger, also with Marion now with 4 fouls. So one of the starters for Marion is gone for the ball game.
Score tied at 53 with a minute 24 left to play in the first overtime. I guess it's not going to be, or is it? One official's trying to give it to them out of bounds. The other official is signaling 1-and-1. Well, they've given Johnson a long time to stand on that free throw line and think about this free throw.
Johnson was very instrumental in that Elkhart Regional victory over Memorial. He and Stukenberg really helped the Plymouth Ball Club come back.
Missed the free throw. Blackman has the rebound. A minute 20 left to play in overtime period number 1. Here's Bilger. To Blackman. To Price. A minute 8. That's Bilger. Down to a minute 2 and counting. Blackman just past the minute mark. Blackman outside jumper won't go. Rebound tipped around, and Skiles saves it from going out of bounds. I tell you, Joseph Price very close to being called for an over the back there, going after that rebound. Here's Skiles into the front court, loses his footing in that same spot, up for a shot blocked by Bilger. Foul on Bilger, and that'll be number 5 on Bilger. So Bilger is fouled out. The second player to foul out for Marion in this overtime period with 40 seconds left. I'm sure we'll see Chris Potee, a 6-foot senior, coming in now. He was the guard substitute in the first half when Bilger drew his 3rd foul.
Skiles will be at the free throw line. We're down to 40 seconds. This is going to be a 2-shot violation. Remember, at the start of the timeout, we mentioned these 2 ball players would perhaps be instrumental in the outcome should they get their fouls, and they did quickly.
Marion a little slow in making the substitution. The official came over and said, that's 5 on number 22. I've told you. He turned to the scorekeeper and said, start the clock. If they don't, I think they have, 30 seconds or 60 seconds to make the substitution of the player who's fouled out. If they don't do it, I believe a technical foul can be called. Either that or a charged timeout. 40 seconds left in overtime. Score tied at 53 at the free throw line will be Scott Skiles. He has 18 points today. He missed his first 2 free throws, made his next 2, so he's 2 of 4 at the line this afternoon. A big one here. He misses. Score tied at 53. Skiles 2 of 5 at the line this afternoon. Not the usual performance. He makes this one 3 of 6, and Plymouth with a 1-point lead, 54-53. So we're off those even numbers with 35 seconds left. Blackman over to Potee. Potee gets it down to Blackman. Blackman spinning jumper is no good. Rebound to Skiles. Outlet pass to Wendell. They've got a 3-on-1. I think Wendell will slow it down wisely. Gets the ball to Skiles.
Down to 20 seconds.
Over to Johnson. To Sissel. Back to Johnson.
Look out for the jump ball.
Gets it to Samuelson underneath the Sissel all alone. He lays it up and in. Scott got that ball to Sissel. Scott Skiles, it's a 3-point lead, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3. Underneath to Love, he lays it up, won't go. Price puts it up at the buzzer, it will count. Joseph Price scores at the buzzer, but Plymouth wins it by a point, 56-55, and we've got that rematch that we had so hoped for in the South Bend area. The Plymouth Pilgrims and the South Bend called Sugar Game tonight. Each has won one ball game in their 2 outings against each other earlier this year. They'll play game number 3 tonight in the championship of the semi-state. Number 1, it gives us a great matchup of local interest in South Bend area. Number 2, it assures us of a South Bend area school in the Final Four tournament, and we're always happy to see that. Congratulations goes to Coach Jack Edison. We're going to talk to him here in just a moment, we hope. Head coach of the Plymouth Pilgrims. First of all, Jack, congratulations. LaSalle for the 3rd time tonight, and this one really the biggest one of the 3. You're headed, one of the 2 of you, to the Final Four.
That's a pleasant thought. That'll be either Griff's team or Plymouth going to the Final Four. You know, it's kind of, when you go into a game like this, you kind of like to represent the northern part of the state. And LaSalle players and our players are very close to each other. You know, we like each other. And, of course, I think the world of Griff. So just knowing that one of us gets to go to the Final Four is, you know, a nice thought.
Your players seemed a little tight in the early going today. The first quarter, you managed just 6 points in 8 minutes. Neither team really seemed to be on their game. Was there some pre-tournament jitters, maybe a little tightness as you went in?
There was by me, I know. And I suppose the players, too. Yeah, it's not uncommon in a game of this magnitude, you know, in a pressure ball game like this, when you get to this point, for the first quarter, maybe the first 3 or 4 minutes, not to be the same as it is maybe normally during the year, for good players to miss 3 or 4 shots. And of course, the great athletes, they come back and they have a good last 26, 28 minutes of the game.
Scott Skiles below his average, Phil Wendell below his, and they both missed, unusual for them, missed free throws down the stretch. Of course, Scott made that great pass to Sissel underneath, but the man I wanted to talk about was Sissel. He seemed to pick up the slack for you this afternoon.
Well, I think, you know, a lot of people look to Scott and Phil, and as we've said all year, they're great players, I think, and they deserve all the credit they've been given. But yet, when we play well, it's the 3 other kids that do things for us. And Ron's picked us up different times. Barry Peterson has at different times, and Todd Samuelson did in the first half tonight. And the kids off the bench also do a great job for us. So you know, it has to be a 5-man team at this point.
Well, congratulations once again on winning today. When we were coming down here yesterday, we were saying, do we hope to dream of having Plymouth LaSalle in the championship game? And that's just what we have. And I think it's going to be a fantastic game tonight at 8 o'clock. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Lynn.
For the team shooting for the ball game, Marion shot 40% on 25 out of 63. Plymouth 48% on 22 out of 46. The rebound total, Marion with a rebound edge of 2, 34 team rebounds to 32 for Plymouth. At the free throw line, it was Marion shooting 71% on 5 out of 7. Plymouth 10 out of 15 for 67%. The total turnovers in the ball game, Marion only 9, Plymouth 15. Individual scoring leaders for Marion, James Blackman 20 points, Joseph Price heading for Notre Dame next year 14 points, Carl Canary 9, Ron Drake 8, Mark Bilger 2, and Greg Love 2. For Plymouth, it was Scott Skiles with 19, and he now has a new single-season scoring record for Plymouth, breaking the previous record set by Bruce Grimm. 12 points for Phil Wendell, 15 points for Ron Sissel. Barry Peterson had 4, Todd Samuelson had 4, and Jamie Johnson 2 points. Again, the final score in an overtime, it was Plymouth 56 and Marion 55. The first game won by LaSalle over Fort Wayne Harding 75-66.
And so tonight, that sets the stage for the Sugar Game, game number 3 between the South Bend LaSalle Lions and the Plymouth Pilgrims. Earlier this year in the championship game of the holiday tournament, it was Plymouth defeating LaSalle, the last game of the regular season before these teams went into the tournament. It was LaSalle edging out Plymouth on the Pilgrims' home court. So the Sugar Game in that series coming up tonight in Fort Wayne, the championship of the Fort Wayne semi-state at stake and a trip to the Final Four tournament. We're looking forward to an outstanding basketball game. We hope you'll join us here at 8 o'clock for a pregame show tip-off at 8:15. From the Allen County Coliseum in Fort Wayne, for Jerry Black, I'm Lynn Thornton, wishing you a very pleasant good evening.